In October 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried was worth $26 billion. He ran FTX, the second largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. Politicians took meetings with him. Tom Brady was his celebrity spokesman. He bought naming rights to the Miami Heat Stadium. Vogue profiled him. He pledged billions to charity through something called effective altruism. He was 30 years old, slept on a beanbag in the office, and looked like he hadn't combed his hair in months. The press loved him for it. They called him the boy genius who would clean up crypto. Then, in a single week in November 2022, his empire collapsed. $8 billion of customer money vanished. The exchange filed for bankruptcy. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, went from billionaire wonderkind to federal prisoner in less than a year. Today I'm telling the full story. How he built it. How it actually worked behind the curtain. The 8 days that destroyed everything. And the brutal lessons hidden inside one of the wildest financial scandals of the century. Welcome to Earnings Per Page. Wild money stories. Honest finance history. Hit subscribe. Let's begin. First, who he was. Sam Bankman-Fried grew up in Palo Alto, California. Both parents were Stanford law professors. He went to MIT, studied physics, and then got recruited to a quantitative trading firm called Jane Street Capital. At Jane Street, he learned the foundations of high-speed mathematical trading. Then, in 2017, he saw something most traders missed. Bitcoin was trading at slightly different prices on different exchanges around the world. The price in Japan was often higher than the price in the US. So if you bought Bitcoin in the US and sold it in Japan, instant arbitrage. Tiny profit per trade. Massive if you did it at scale. SBF left Jane Street and started a trading firm called Alameda Research to exploit this gap. He made tens of millions of dollars in a single year. Lesson 1. The strategy that built the empire. By 2019, the arbitrage opportunities were shrinking, so SBF made a bigger bet. He launched his own cryptocurrency exchange. He called it FTX. The pitch: a faster, smarter, more user-friendly crypto exchange built by traders for traders. It worked. FTX grew faster than any exchange in history. By 2021, it was valued at $18 billion. By early 2022, $32 billion. SBF personally was worth over $26 billion. He became a media celebrity. He testified before Congress on crypto regulation. He donated more than $70 million to political candidates. He hosted lavish conferences in the Bahamas with Tony Blair, Bill Clinton, and Tom Brady. The public image was perfect. The smartest crypto person in the world, the messiest hair, the most idealistic philosophy. Effective altruism. Earn as much as possible, give it all away to save the world. Lesson 2. What was actually happening behind the scenes? Here is what nobody outside the inner circle knew. While FTX presented itself as a clean, well-regulated exchange, Alameda Research, SBF's trading firm, was secretly using FTX customer deposits to fund its own risky trades. When customers deposited money into FTX, that money was supposed to sit safely in their accounts, available whenever they wanted to withdraw. Instead, billions of dollars of customer money were being quietly funneled to Alameda. Alameda used it to make risky bets across crypto markets. As long as nobody asked for their money back at the same time, the scheme worked. By mid-2022, an estimated $8 billion of customer money was missing from FTX, invested by Alameda in trades, real estate, political donations, and personal luxuries. The exchange was effectively insolvent. The customers didn't know. Investors didn't know. Even some of SBF's own employees didn't know. Lesson 3. The 8 days that ended everything. November 2nd, 2022. The crypto news outlet CoinDesk published an article that should have been boring. It revealed that Alameda Research's balance sheet was mostly made up of something called FTT, a token issued by FTX itself. In other words, Alameda's assets were just imaginary money that FTX had created out of thin air. People started asking the obvious question. If Alameda's assets are FTT, and FTT is controlled by FTX, then where is the actual money? November 6th, CZ, the CEO of rival exchange Binance, posted on Twitter that Binance was selling all its FTT holdings. Quote, due to recent revelations that have come to light. The market panicked. FTT price collapsed. November 7th, FTX customers rushed to withdraw their money. Within 24 hours, over $6 billion in withdrawals were requested. FTX could not pay because the money was gone. November 8th, FTX paused all withdrawals. The world realized something was very wrong. SBF tweeted reassuring messages. Things are fine. We're fully capitalized. We're going to fix this. November 9th, Binance announced it would acquire FTX in an emergency rescue. The crypto world held its breath. November 10th, Binance announced it had reviewed FTX's books. The deal was off. The hole was too big. They wanted no part of it. November 11th, FTX, Alameda Research, and over 100 affiliated companies filed for bankruptcy. SBF resigned as CEO. The price of FTT had fallen 95%. Customers around the world realized their money was gone. In 8 days, a $32 billion empire and $8 billion of customer money had vanished. Lesson 4. The aftermath. The new CEO appointed to manage FTX bankruptcy was John Ray. John Ray had previously overseen the bankruptcy of Enron. His public statement about FTX became legendary. He said, quote, "Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information as occurred here. Coming from the man who oversaw Enron, that is a stunning indictment. Investigators found no proper accounting, no risk management, major decisions made through informal signal messages, billions of dollars of corporate funds spent on Bahamas real estate, sports sponsorships, political donations, and personal expenses with no clear records." In December 2022, SBF was arrested in the Bahamas and extradited to the United States. In November 2023, he was convicted on 7 counts of fraud and conspiracy. In March 2024, he was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. Lesson 5. The real lessons hidden in FTX. 3 uncomfortable truths from this story. First, image is not substance. The messy hair, the beanbag, the philanthropy, the awkward genius act. All of it was carefully crafted. The press believed it because it made a good story. The story turned out to be theater. Be careful what you believe about people just because they look the part. Second, innovation is often disguised theft. Crypto promised to remove middlemen, eliminate counterparty risk, and democratize finance. FTX did the opposite of all 3. It was a centralized intermediary that abused its position to steal from customers. The technology was new. The crime was as old as banking itself, using other people's deposits without permission. Third, fast growth hides fraud better than slow growth. FTX grew from 0 to 32 billion in valuation in 4 years. The speed of growth made it impossible for anyone, investors, regulators, journalists, to do proper due diligence in real time. Whenever you see a company growing impossibly fast, ask the question, what would they have to be doing for these numbers to be possible? Sometimes the answer is genius. Sometimes the answer is fraud. The pattern repeats. Theranos grew impossibly fast. Wirecard grew impossibly fast. Madoff's returns were impossibly consistent. Each time, the story outpaced reality until it couldn't anymore. Final reflections. The FTX collapse is one of the cleanest examples in modern history of how easy it is to fool the world when the world wants to be fooled. The press wanted a crypto hero. The politicians wanted a clean-cut crypto donor. Investors wanted a winning bet. Customers wanted a safe place to trade. SBF gave everyone the story they wanted to hear. Nobody asked the hard questions until it was too late. That same psychology is happening right now in 2026 in different sectors with different protagonists with different innovations. Somewhere, a young founder with a great story is convincing the world that they've solved a problem nobody else can solve. They might be a genius. Or they might be the next SBF. The only way to tell, over time, is whether the story can survive a withdrawal. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Earnings Per Page. Next time I'm telling the wildest accounting fraud in modern history. Wirecard, the German fintech that hid a $2 billion hole in plain sight for years. Drop a comment with which collapse you think we're closest to repeating right now. See you in the next one.